Hi everyone. Before starting this video, I would like to make a broad disclaimer that this video is not a chest thumping exercise where we are going to claim that we can predict what UPSC is going to ask and all the questions in UPSC are coming only from our platform. So therefore, you should just follow us. No, it is not that type of video. Rather, in this particular video, we want to make an honest try to guide UPSC aspirants that how meaningfully they should prepare for current affairs. Frankly, right now there is madness going on YouTube where everyone with a camera with a writing pad is a self-proclaimed best faculty. And what is happening today in the name of UPSC current affairs, within 24 hours 28 hours of content is being dumped. Every minor detail is being said that it is important for UPSC, it is important for UPSC, you have to prepare for that. And a fear of missing out is being created in UPSC aspirants, and at the end of the day they are often misguided. Here I just want to show you that whether just by following a single newspaper can you crack the questions that are being asked into the UPSC mains examination or not. And frankly, only through Hindu newspaper. Now, by the way, a brief introduction. My name is Sahil, and on this particular channel we take the Hindu newspaper analysis every day. And here I am going to show you question by question that how the questions have been inspired from current affairs. And out of 20 questions that have been asked in the GS paper number 2 in 2023 mains, out of 2016 questions could be tackled only from the Hindu newspaper. And to back our claim, I am also attaching the snapshot from synoptic notes that we share daily on Telegram channel, as well as also I am attaching the snapshot from the video where we have discussed that particular article from which the question has been inspired. And deliberately, here we have ensured that you can see the date on which the video was streamed, so that if you want, you can go and you can cross check that particular thing. Okay, so let's start with this particular analysis. Now guys, before starting up with the question 1, I would like to tell you just two things again. That first, this PDF is available on our Telegram channel. You can download the PDF from there. And secondly, this is, as it is video of paper 2, I will be making a video on paper 3 also, showing that how many questions can be solved from that. Okay, now taking up the first question. So first question says that the states in India seems reluctant to empower urban local bodies, both functionally as well as financially. Comment. Now, first of all, why this particular question has been asked? It is because of the fact that 30 years have been completed since 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, which constitutionalized the Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies. And because of that particular thing, there are many articles that were published in Hindu newspapers, and we have discussed a lot of them. And these particular articles are directly pointing out that how there is a functional as well as financial issues there. I will show you. So here the first so here, as we see, there is this particular article that came. It reads, the scale of municipal finances is inadequate. This snapshot is from our synoptic notes. Okay, and it is talking about that how finances are inadequate, how the article is talking about that intergovernmental transfers, which account to 40% of the ULB revenues, they have declined. So substantiated data has been given here. So firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, okay, all these things are there. I've discussed this particular article on 13th July 2022. You can see here the timestamp. Then not only this, multiple times this particular thing has got repeated. For example, local governments in state of disrepair. Local governments in state of disrepair. How staffing is an issue. How they are starved of money. So again, the financial element has come here. So it reads that how they are starved of money. Then technology, okay, centralization, all these things have been provided. So first article came here on 13 July, then again it reappeared on 15th August, then throttled at the grassroots, how to strengthen decentralized governance. Now this particular article provides again all the problems that are there. For example, volume of money is inadequate, inflexibility is there, they are money, grants that are being given, they are tied to a specific purpose, they are not free to spend that. And then the way forwards have also been given here. And again on 11th October 2022, the article got reappeared. And all these articles are talking about both the dimensions, that how financial and functional limitations are there, which are hampering the functioning, which is the requirement of the question. Okay, And just again I want to show that the thing have got repeated. 5 January 2023, again I have taken this particular article, the values of local self governance, why local self governance is important. And here this article, limited autonomy specifically provided this particular thing, that how their functionality has been reduced, Patna High Court's judgment. Okay, fine. Moving on, again municipal corporation are gasping of for funds. So you got that idea. 2 points I want to clear here, guys, that many number of a times aspirants, they have this insecurity that, sir, on that day newspaper we missed. Okay, but understand this thing, I tell this again and again, that it's not a particular day's newspaper, rather it is issues on which the questions will be asked. And if an issue is important, it will be repeated multiple number of a times. Now, what is the reason that students say that, sir, I am reading two newspaper, Indian Express, Hindu. They give this explanation that some news are missed by Hindu, they are covered by Indian Express. Some are missed by Indian Express, they are covered by Hindu newspaper. My point is that if issue is important, it will be covered in all the newspapers. So no need to have those insecurities. Okay. Moving on to next question. Discuss the role of Competition Commission of India in containing the abuse of dominant position by the multinational corporations in India. Refer to the recent decisions. Now, this question is not a static question from Lakshmikant talking about the, sorry, not static question from Polity talking about CCI. Rather, it is talking about the recent decision, recent issues, the contemporary dimensions you have to add. Now, why this particular article? Because there was this particular issue that came in the news. There was the CCI versus Google's controversy, where 1300 crore rupee fine was imposed on Google by the Competition Commission of India, because they were trying to abuse their dominant position and are trying to eliminate the competition, which is called as the antitrust practice. So here entire Google's controversy we have seen. Okay, what are the other antitrust issues going against the Google in other countries, and how the competition commissions in those countries are dealing with that particular issue. So this entire issue we have discussed. Okay, then guys, there was also the issue. Now, one more thing, guys, here is that see, while we are discussing the article, for example, this particular article again came, the big tech and the need in India for ex ante regulation. Now, when this particular article came, we have also given you here the Competition Commission of India's background. For example, CCI was established under Indian Competition Act. What was the objective of bringing the Competition Commission of India? Okay, how European Union, US, they are also dealing with such anti-competitive practices by their own bodies. So this particular thing can also serve as the basic foundation of your answer. Okay, then competition amendment bill also we have discussed. Okay, market dominant issue. Okay, so here Amazon, Flipkart's case, all these things also we have discussed. So my point is that very well you can answer this particular question again from the basis of the coverage that has come. So no need to okay, and again the Hindu newspaper, we discussed it on 13 December 2022. Okay, 13 December 2022. This video is still available on YouTube. You can go and you can check that. Okay, and we have discussed it also on 24 October 2022. Meanwhile, this particular article had got repeated multiple times, others also. Okay, then further moving on, question 3. Indian diaspora has scaled new heights in the West. Describe its economic and political benefits for India. Now, one thing, I have taken up so many articles on diaspora, and when we take up diaspora, I even remember that first of all we discussed that what is diaspora. Okay, then we discussed that India has one of the largest diaspora, and this diaspora is very important for India. And I vividly remember that we have even taken up that how the civil nuclear deal that was signed with USA, in that thing, Indian diaspora living in USA, they have played a very dominant role. By the way, there was one complete article that came on diaspora. Why? Because there was the growth in remittances. What happened? The remittances coming to India, they reached $100 billion mark in 2022. So basically, now who will be sending remittances? Obviously, the diaspora are one who are sending remittances. Clearly, the economic benefit of Indian diaspora. Moreover, when we talk about Indian diaspora, guys, you see this particular thing. First of all, diaspora means people of Indian origin who are living in other country. Now, when we talk about Indian diaspora is a politically very active diaspora. You take example of UK, you take example of USA. Okay, so they lobby the case for India. All those things we have also discussed multiple number of times. Okay, 6 December, 9 December 2022, the article was taken up. Fine, you can see. The next question comes. The Constitution of India is a living instrument with the capabilities of enormous dynamism. Why it is a living document? Obviously, because of Article 368, the Constitution evolves, the Constitutional adapts as per the changing needs of the time. But question is not on that. Question starts from here. Illustrate with special reference to the expanding horizons of the right to life and personal liberty. Now, you see this thing that right to life and personal liberty today is far more different than what it was in 1950. Over the years, right to life and personal liberty has expanded. Its horizon has expanded. So, constitution is growing, and as it is growing, as it is evolving, right to life and personal liberty, Article 21 is also growing. So, you need to provide some case laws in this particular direction. Now, if you see here, there was this particular article that we took on 27th August 2022. Now, what this particular article is Puttaswamy and the fading promise of a right. What happened? 5 years of Puttaswamy judgment happened. What is Puttaswamy judgment? Puttaswamy judgment gave right to privacy. It provided right to privacy is a fundamental right under Article 21. Article 21, right to life and liberty. Under Article 21, right to privacy was given in Puttaswamy judgment. 5 years happened to that particular case, and that particular all the dimensions have been discussed related to right to privacy. Okay, so this is one expansion. Then guys, if you further move on, moreover guys, here also many other dimensions we have taken up, that how it is getting impacted, what are the government interventions, whether spirit is being upheld or not. Then there was one more article that we discussed here on 7th of February 2023. I hope it is visible to all of you. 7th of February 2023. And what the article was? Article was on the living will. So basically Supreme Court has granted the legal status to the advanced medical directive in 2018, and that thing came again. Now what is a living will? So basically guys, Article 21, right to life, also includes right to death with dignity. Right to death with dignity. Now many people, they reach vegetative state, okay, where they cannot, where their survivability is not possible, medically not possible. Okay. So living will is a concept where the people can decide in advance the end of life decisions. Okay. So when we talk about the living will, death, right to die with dignity has been expanded as a part of right to life, and in that living will concept can also be used as an example. Now guys, my point is that you should not be restricted only to one thing, that is right to privacy, because I have talked to many of aspirants and they said that we wrote on that dimension but we were not getting any other clue. So use this particular thing also. Moreover guys, I am also recalling one more point. Okay, we have also multiple times discussed the Anuradha Bhasin judgment also. Anuradha Bhasin judgment provided this particular thing, that right to internet can also be inferred as a fundamental right under the domain of Article 19 and Article 21. We discussed this particular issue multiple number of times. Why? Because of the internet suspension that was going on in Manipur, and also many editorials came. So that content also could have been used multiple times in our newspaper analysis. We have discussed it. Okay. Then further moving on to next question. The expansion and strengthening of NATO and a stronger US-Europe strategic partnership works well in India. What is your opinion about this statement? Give reason and example to support your answer. Now, basically Russia-Ukraine war is going on, and as Russia-Ukraine war is going on, NATO has again got relevance because of that. And if you remember, in newspaper analysis we have discussed that recently when state visit of the Prime Minister of India happened to US, there was a proposal that was kept forward, that is NATO plus, and in that NATO plus proposal was made that India should also be included to NATO. Minister of External Affairs Mr. S. Jaishankar made a statement that that kind of template doesn't apply to India. So NATO's expansion was being discussed, and so many articles have come here. For example, on 11th of May 2023, we discussed this particular article. The fallout of Putin makes NATO great again. So by the way, all the basic details of NATO that you need, that is also given here. Fine, NATO. Moreover, guys, recently the NATO's expansion also happened. Fine, NATO's expansion also happened. Fine. So basic details about NATO. Then what are the implications? What are the implications? Fine. India as of now has maintained strategic silence on NATO. But now what new implications are coming in this Russia-Ukraine war scenario? And then there was one more article that came on 4th of July 2023. And this 4th of July article specifically talks about the question that has been asked. India should refuse America's NATO plus bait. Okay, so whether India should join or not join. Fine, here you can see whether India should join or should not join. So benefits as well as what will be the disadvantages that have been given first, second, third, and what should be the India's priorities right now, way forward. That has also been given. Okay. Uh, one more thing is that, guys, just for the constraint of not making it too bulky, I am adding few examples. My point is that beyond this also, I remember that at least 4 to 5 times I have discussed the NATO, and whenever we discuss NATO, India's dimensions we have always discussed. So my point is that again and again it got reappeared in the paper. The next question comes, virus of conflict is affecting the functioning of the SCO. In the light of the above statement, point out the role of India in mitigating problems. Now, what happened? Basically, you know this thing that recently India chaired the SCO, and because of that particular thing, question was expected. Now, what is the conflict going on in SCO? First of all, within SCO, we see that China is also there, and because of the China and India in one organization, there is ideological and there is a strategic conflict that is there. Moreover, there is also one more dimension that we might have that many of might have missed, but we discussed here in our newspaper analysis. What actually happened? Iran has joined SCO. Now you see this particular dimension that America recognizes Iran as one of their biggest adversary. America is recognizing Iran as a biggest adversary under their CAATSA Act, countering America's adversaries through Sanction Act. And Iran has now got inducted in SCO, where India is also present. China, Russia were already present. So SCO is becoming more of an anti-America kind of an organization. This perception got created because of this particular thing. There is also one more conflict that will come, but bigger conflict within the SCO is Russia, India and China division that is there. So basically, guys, we have seen this particular thing that what does India want? Okay, what does India want in SCO? How India should lead forward so that these conflicts can be mitigated and India specific outcomes could be attained. Okay, so utilizing India's moment under the diplomatic sun. Okay, so currently India is a chair of both US West-led G20 and the China-centered SCO. So what should be the India's strategy? That entire thing we have discussed here on the 6th of March newspaper analysis. We have discussed it on 6th of May. Here the article come, the horizon of India beyond G20 SCO summit. Okay, fine. Then moving on to the next question. Discuss the role of presiding officer of state legislature in maintaining order and impartiality in conducting legislative work. Now, this particular article, first you need to write about the role of presiding officers in the state legislature. Fine, what are their powers, what are their duties, you need to write on that. For that, you need to have the basic knowledge of your polity, static. Then what actually happened, guys, if you remember, we discussed on 12th of May and multiple times, 12th May, 18th May and many number of times. What happened? Supreme Court judgment on the Maharashtra political crisis came, and Supreme Court in that particular judgment has talked on multiple things, and one dimension Supreme Court has talked about is the role of speaker. Now what happened in Maharashtra issue? There was the defection. Basically what happened, Eknath Shinde faction defected and they supported the BJP. Against them, whip was issued, and when whip is issued, it is a ground for disqualification, and in that, who takes the decision? Speaker takes the decision, but speaker did not acted. Okay, Supreme Court said that the speaker should have acted. So here if you see, speaker is the authority to adjudicate petitions for disqualification in a written schedule. The court said it cannot ordinarily adjudicate petitions. The speaker must decide within a reasonable period. So This entire dimension of presiding officer, speaker's role, we have discussed. Now, this particular issue makes this question relevant. Fine. But yes, from apart from this also, static basic information from your polity will also be needed to address this question completely. Fine. But one example you can give, and these are the things by which we get additional marks in the exam by giving such relevant recent case laws. The next question, explain the constitutional perspective of gender justice with the help of relevant provisions and case laws. Constitutional perspective of gender justice. Now guys, when we see, we have found this particular thing that in Indian society, there have many number of times patriarchal notions that have been prevailed. And these patriarchal notions even are reflected in the, even they are reflected into the laws, which leads to gender injustice. For example, adultery. Specifically, it was when we talk about the adultery in the Joseph Shine judgment, Supreme Court specifically provided that adultery was perpetuating gender injustice, gender biasness. Now, when we talk about constitution, it has made many provisions to bring the gender justice right away from the preamble. Okay, preamble, we have then fundamental right to equality, article 14 to article 18. Then in DPSP, it talks about equal pay for equal work. Okay, so on gender justice, many constitutional provisions are there. Now, question says, explain the constitutional perspectives of gender justice with the help of relevant constitutional provisions and case laws. So, constitutional provisions you can mention, Article 14 to 18 is there. Then then women have been given freedom in all the affairs. Then equal pay for equal work is there. Then humane work condition and maternity support is to be given. All these things are in there at DPSP. Now, case laws. So, basically what happened, there was this particular article came on 30th August 2022, curing the patriarchal mindset of the legal system. So first of all, the article talks about that how in the legal system, fine, laws are often, they are crafted in such a way that they reflect a patriarchal male mindset. Female jurisprudence is missing. Okay, and here many Supreme Court judgments cases also we have taken. Okay, then further moving on guys, after that there was this particular judgment by the Supreme Court ruling on the abortion rights for the unmarried women. Okay, so here again one gender justice perspective come. Then what happened? Supreme Court further Supreme Court declared that two-finger test is misconduct. Okay, now two-finger test. What is this two-finger test? So women who have been the victims of rape, to ascertain that whether the rape has happened or not, a two-finger test is committed on them. Now, way back, it was declared that it cannot be carried because it goes against women dignity, but still it was being taken up. So, Supreme Court has ruled that it is invalid. So, again, guys, now the article, now when we talk about this particular article specifically pointed out this particular thing, that what is the need of this two-finger test. Now, when we talk about this particular issue was again an issue of gender social injustice that was there. And article we have discussed specific case laws also. For example, in Lilu versus state of Haryana, the Supreme Court has held that two-finger test violates the right of rape survivors. Fine. Then there was again one more article came, command posting for women officers in the army. So basically the induction of women in army. Okay, so again this is particular step towards the gender justice. Okay, so all these particular articles we have taken up, and in all the articles case laws judgments have specifically been mentioned. So 30th January 2023 this particular article came. Then again guys, the article came, for example, how safe workspace needs to be created for women, and when there are not safe workspaces, it is again a kind of a gender injustice. Okay, so you have so many relevant articles in this particular dimension. Then further moving on, so here we have two questions. First of all, I will read the question and then we'll see what is the demand of the question. So first question says that the crucial aspect of development process has been the inadequate attention paid to human resource development in India. Suggest measures that can address this adequacy. Okay, so it is talking about that human resource development has not been proper. Then the second question talks about that skill development programs have succeeded in increasing human resource supply to various sectors. In the context of the statement, analyze the linkage between education, skill and employment. Okay, Now, first of all, let me give you a basic background that we have discussed multiple number of times. United Nation Population Fund, UNFPA, it provides that 2020 to 2040 is going to be a golden window for India, because during this particular age, India is going to reap its demographic dividend. When we talk about average age of India right now, it is 28 years. So we have exceptionally young population, and this young population is going to contribute in our economy, demographic dividend. But this demographic dividend will turn in a demographic disaster if we don't improve, if we don't enhance the workability of the young population. And for that, human resource development comes. Okay. Now, when we talk about human resource, what are the constituents of human resource? Constituents of human resource is good education, good skill set, good education, good skill set. There needs to be the employment opportunities. Okay. There needs to be specifically formal sector employment opportunities that need to be there. When we talk about skills, hard skills, soft skills, all the skills need to be there. Okay. Fine. And when we specifically talk about, guys, the human resource, what will come in human resource? Fine. I told you education will come, health will come, skill development will come, all these particular things will come. Fine, we'll take it up. Second question, it is talking about analyze the linkage between education, skill and employment. There is a clear link in this particular direction. For example, if our children will be educated, they are better equipped to learn the new skill. If they are better skilled, they can find the formal employments. Okay, now taking up. So basically, first this particular article came investing in India's youth. Now, when we talk about this particular article talks about that right now there is a challenge to educate the citizens. But if we educate the citizens, there is a huge economic potential that we can harvest. Pandemic has also led a very big impact on our youth, our children, because education got disrupted, skill development got disrupted, vocation got disrupted. Fine, National Skill Development Policy 2009, which got updated in 2015. Skill India, which will make skill capital. Okay, but before the skill, we need to invest in the education. So where no child is left. Okay, so article is talking about education. Then we have article talking about public health, and how public health is instrumental for better longevity, how the public health will be instrumental in readying our productive workforce. Okay, then again the skill development. So skill development, health, education, all three are the components of demographic dividend. All these three are the components of human resource development, and all these three are interlinked for the economic potential. Now my point is that, guys, with the basic understanding and by using the specific points from these particular editorials, you can write a really very good answer in this particular line. So we have discussed it on 15th of November 2022. Okay, then we have discussed it on 6th of September 2022, and on this thing many other articles also have come. Fine, I remember that virtually after every 12 days there is one article coming on health, on education, on skill development. So I will rate this particular question as a moderate question. Even if you have not read it very frankly, you could have answered, but from here some specific points you can add in your answers, which give that extra, which helps you to get that extra marks. Then the next question, e-governance as a critical tool of governance has ushered in effectiveness, transparency and accountability in governments. What inadequacies hamper the enhancement of these features? Okay. Now, article specifically is talking about inadequacies in e-governance. E-governance is good. Now, you need not to write only about the benefit of e-governance. Question is saying that there are benefits, but what are problems? What are inadequacies? Okay. Now, in that particular capacity, there are your generic points that are there. But apart from that, guys, there was this particular article that came on 14th March 2023. Now, the article is talking about the data. Just a minute. The article is talking about data empowerment and protection architecture, which is a consent management tool. Article talks about that this DEPA, data empowerment and protection architecture, it has a potential to improve data protection and privacy, and can give greater control to citizens over their personal information. We need to further develop so that easily consents can be given, consent management can be done. Okay, So on that particular direction, the article is talking about. Now when we talk about inadequacies in e-governance, inadequacies that e-governance is thriving on data, but often people don't have control over their data. They cannot withdraw the consent over their data if they want. So for that particular thing, more flexibility is to be given. Okay. Then further, moving on in this particular direction, fine, the further article talks about that right to privacy was given by Supreme Court, but many number of times in data, in e-governance, where citizens data is being used, many number of times their privacy is hampered. So how privacy concerns are to be taken up, how there are some good case studies where privacy has been tackled up sufficiently. Then guys, further moving on, we have again the very big problem of e-governance is that cyber attacks, they are always prone to cyber attacks. So this is one problem where it becomes inadequate. Okay. And then guys, there are other challenges. For example, data management is a challenge. Then point is that accessibility is a very big problem. You are giving e-governance through internet, through websites, you are providing a lot of governance services, but how citizens will access them? There is digital illiteracy. Often the websites and portals are not accessible to the people of a particular genre. So these issues have been there. Then further, moving on, explain the significance of 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. To what extent does it reflect the accommodative spirit of federalism? Now, 101 Constitutional Amendment Act brought GST, and 5 years of GST happened. And because of that particular thing, guys, the article has discussed all the dimensions of the GST 101 Constitutional Amendment Act and accommodative spirit of federalism. So between state, between center and the state, the issues and how they have been reconciled, that particular thing you need to talk upon. So basically guys, when we talk about the GST, many articles have come. Subnational fiscal correction, challenges to subnational fiscal correction, how because of the GST the state governments, okay, on them there is an implication, okay, a case for reassigning GST to states. So the dimension between the center and state, federal dimension vis-a-vis the GST is concerned, these particular dimensions we have taken up. Fine. Then next article discuss the contribution of civil society groups for women's effective and meaningful participation and representation in state legislatures in India. Okay. Now, basically, guys, when we talk about this particular question, so civil societies, fine, NGOs, they have their this is a topic that is mentioned in our syllabus, and you need to write the generic points that how they have been instrumental in giving the meaningful participation to women. Now, guys, what actually happened? There was this particular one article that came where Sarpanch Patism was taken up. What happened? In the name of women, their husbands are in the name of the women, their husbands are yielding the authority. In the name of women, their father-in-law are yielding the authority. And what happened? Supreme Court has specifically directed an NGO, that is Mundona Rural Development Foundation, to make representation before the Ministry of Panchayati Raj so that women actually get the representation into the grassroots democracy, grassroots politics. So here specifically we see that how an NGO is being directed. Okay. However, I will further however, on this particular dimension, more you need to write from the basic notes that you have made on NGO and how NGO in the past they have supported the women-led democracy. Okay. Then further moving on, explain the structure of parliamentary committee system. How far have the financial committees helped in institutionalization of Indian parliament? So basically, parliamentary business and essential pit stop. This particular article came, but then this particular article more can be addressed from the basic understanding of the parliamentary committee system, the types of parliamentary committees, what are their specific domains. Okay, so largely I'll say that this article can be handled by the static, and then some addition can be done on the parliamentary committees, that for example steps required are being talked here. So way forward can be picked up from this particular article. We discussed it on the 16th September 2022. Then next question, constitutionally guaranteed judicial independence is a prerequisite of democracy. Comment. Okay. Now, if you remember, for at least 1.5 months, this particular controversy has been there in the news. What happened? Vice President of India had made some remarks on the collegium system, and between actually the government and judiciary this is going on, where it was provided that National Judicial Appointment Commission, which was brought it was ruled as invalid, unconstitutional. So government provided that still judicial selections that are there is a lot of opaqueness in that, and we need to reform it. But judiciary has put forward that judicial independence is very important, and by this particular mechanism, judicial independence might get compromised. So why judicial independence is important? On this collegium system, this controversy went on, and so many articles we have discussed. Shifts unexplained on 28th of November. Then there was again article, collegium system is the law. Fine. Now here multiple articles we have taken up, and in much detail we have discussed about the judicial independence, and then the attack on last bastion. And this particular article again is talking about the judicial independence as why it is important. Okay. Then development and welfare schemes for the vulnerable by its nature are discriminatory in approach. Do you agree? Give reasons for your answer. Now, one idea, guys, to tackle this particular question is that, see, last year 2022, in the month of October, there was this freebie issue that was going on in news. Now what happened? Prime Minister called freebie as a revenue culture, and it was provided that many services that are being given, such as subsidized health, subsidized education, they are directed towards certain section of the society, and by that a kind of a discrimination is being created. Okay, by that a kind of a discrimination is being created. Now, when we talk about the freebie, so here we have multiple articles. For example, is India spending too much on freebie? First of all, the data is there. Then there we have taken up this particular article that when we talk about the freebie, there comes the issue. So here, despite the popularity, the second objection is that the policy is discriminatory. So how certain specific welfare programs, for example, women are being given free bus rides. So how this becomes a discriminatory? This entire dimension has been discussed here. How it becomes a discriminatory, entire dimension has been given here. So that particular point, that whether they are discriminatory, do you agree? You can write the points from this particular dimension. Okay. So guys, this is all about it. One point is that the questions are not in a linear manner. We have picked up from here and there so that you can manage. So my idea in this entire video was this, that you should be informed rather than misinformed. And I want you that please don't be driven by the insecurities, because many number of times the crucial attempts are wasted because of these insecurities. So please get a fair understanding that how UPSC is asking the question, and please make a fair choice on how to cover for the current affairs. So that is all guys from my side for the today. We'll be meeting again. Thank you so much.